had meetings with CEOs, various CEOs, Nobel laureates, and so on. But what I would want to highlight is the fact that even yoga, which was done in the UN campus, had 132 nationalities participating in it. So it drew great attraction, and as a result, taking yoga to a level that has got recognition all over the world is a very important aspect that I would highlight. But from the announcements post the visit, I would like to highlight the fact that semiconductor supply chains, Micron technology, for instance, is likely to invest 800 million towards 2.75 billion semiconductor assembly and test facility in Gujarat. And this itself will give more 5,000 to more than 5,000 new direct jobs, and also 15,000 what we call indirect job, what they call as community level jobs. We are also becoming a part of an alliance of rare earths and materials, and in this it is expected to support more than 2 billion planned investment, Center for the Semiconductor Center for Commercialization and Innovation, which is being set up in Bangalore, will have in its first 5 years of operation itself, the center is expected to support more than 2 billion planned investments, 500 new advanced engineering jobs, and potentially another 2,500 jobs in manufacturing ecosystem. Now, this is a very big step forward. Similarly, Semiverse Solutions, which will train up to 60,000 Indian youth into artificial intelligence and use of semiconductor-related education and workforce development goals, will get fulfilled. Critical mineral partnership, which I've already mentioned. Quite a few of these companies are coming out and wanting to set up these capacities in India because lithium and cobalt and the use of these rare earths are going to make the future of energy and energy transition. So that's a second. Space also had great lot of achievements. Advanced training will be provided. NASA will be providing advanced training to ISRO, and that will also help for a joint effort to the International Space Station in 2024. Advanced telecommunication has also had agreement. India and US launched public-private joint task force for the development and deployment of open RAN systems. I'm just giving you the highlights and not going into the details of everything. Quantum and advanced computing has also received a joint Indo-US quantum coordination mechanism. You know, it was announced as a part of our budget. And then they will also support joint research in artificial intelligence, quantum, and advanced wireless technologies. And then there is also the arrangement with the National Science Foundation, which is the US body, and it announced that 35 joint research collaborations will also happen with the India's Department of Science and Technology, and they have also signed a new cooperative arrangement with the MeitY ministries. Department of Atomic Energy has also had a share in the agreements, is making 140 million in-kind contribution to the US Department of Energy. And finally, the seventh item is on innovation and fiber optics investments. India's Sterlite Technologies Limited has invested 100 million in the construction of optical fiber manufacturing units in Colombia, and that will facilitate 150 million in annual sports. But beyond all this, I'd certainly like to draw your specific attention for directly some very important defense production related announcements. GE, which is the biggest of aeronautics companies, has signed an agreement with HAL for joint production of F414 engines, aircraft engines. Now this will be made in India. 80% of technology is getting transferred. Now I highlight this because it is HAL, about which repeatedly the Indian opposition sheds crocodile tears. What's happening to HAL? Bangalore, you're not doing much to it. Please understand, HAL is what is going to have this joint production agreement with the GE. Second, and these made in India engines will be used for HAL's own Tejas aircraft. You know, Tejas is a completely Indian made aircraft for which the engine now is being the GE F414 engines. Then we are also getting unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs. The Sea Guardian MQ-9B is being brought into India. One of the biggest strength which we can provide to our armed forces. You also have an agreement, master ship repair agreement. India will now become the biggest center for ship repairs. Already the US Navy has concluded an agreement with the Kattupalli, which is very close to Chennai, Larsen and Toubro shipyard, where India will be the center and will be the hub to repair most of the major ships. And further, they are also trying to sign up with Mazagon docks in Mumbai and with also Goa shipyard. So is also 3 Indian liaison officers who are going to be placed in the US command, and this will be very good in building our mutual capacities, and also emphasize on the defense accelerated ecosystem, IndusX, which was inaugurated on June 21st, 2023. This will be a network of universities, startups, industry, and think tanks. And this will facilitate in joint defense technology innovation. There are also several people-centric steps which have been taken. You heard Honorable Prime Minister himself announce that for the H-1B visa extension, Indian citizens do not need to come back to their home country, but they can renew it even being there. That will save a lot of effort for our own people, otherwise they keep coming back and waiting to get it renewed. You also heard that there are 2 new consulates which are getting opened, Bengaluru and Ahmedabad. Fulbright Kalam Climate Fellowship, additional facilities also being brought in. 100 additional US undergraduate students will study or intern in India. This is also being people-to-people measure. And those who are interested in knowing, India is funding the establishment of a Tamil Studies chair in University of Houston. Aviation deals, which are commercial deals, have also happened just in time before Honorable Prime Minister went to US. So you've heard about that. Many other commercial decisions which I'll draw your attention to are Amazon, which will bring $15 billion and 26 billion in the country to investments to be made here. You heard Alphabet Sundar Pichai talking about opening a fintech center, global fintech sector in Gujarat, and indigenization is happening there. So I've just given you some highlights of the visit to the United States. But this minute, I like to highlight the fact that during his visit, which is ongoing in Egypt, our Prime Minister has been awarded the highest award, Order of the Nile. This is one of the oldest in the sense it existed in Egypt even before Egypt became a republic. During the emperor's rule earlier, also they had this award, but in 1953 this award was restarted under the Republic of Egypt, and it's the highest award being given, and it's a proud moment for India. Honorable Prime Minister has received the highest civilian awards from 13 countries together with this award, and of which 6 of them come from countries which have population which is highest in Islamic Muslim population. 6 Muslim dominated population countries, totaling, all of them total to 13, 6 plus the rest, so total 13 countries have given. And in this visit, I like to highlight a few things which are equally important. Honorable Prime Minister was welcomed by the Prime Minister himself of Egypt. Just one minute, get the papers ready. And other than being received by the Prime Minister himself, the Grand Mufti of Egypt has also received him and given him all the honors. In Egypt's history, the Grand Mufti holds a very high and respectable position. He was received by them. Other than that, the Indian Muslim community called the Bohras, they run a very big mosque there, and in that mosque, Honorable Prime Minister was invited and taken to visit, and even that has gone down so well. The chief of that mosque has also received Prime Minister. This visit is of a Prime Minister of India coming after 26 full years, when the last visit of Honorable Prime Minister from India had happened. So this visit has attained quite a high prominence in Egypt. Other than meeting the Indian community, he had also set up an institution of excellence even there. So I think this visit to Egypt attains great importance. मैं ज़्यादातर इंग्लिश में बोल दिया, रिक्वेस्ट आ रही है अनिल बलूनी जी से थोड़ा हिंदी में बोलने के लिए। सिर्फ मैं इतना कह सकती हूँ कि अब तक मैंने यूएस विजिट के बारे में संक्षिप्त में बोला है, क्योंकि इससे पहले माननीय मंत्री स्मृति ईरानी जी भी और हरदीप पुरी जी भी आपको विस्तार से इस विषय में आकर आपसे संबोधित किए, मगर मेरी तरफ से ये मैं जानकारी आपको देना चाह रही हूं कि भारत की प्रधानमंत्री जी का सेकंड जॉइंट सेशन में बात करने का मौका हर बार किसी को मिलता नहीं है। अब तक जितने भी लोगों को मिले, बहुत कम लोगों को ही ये अपॉर्चुनिटी मिला है, और जॉइंट सेशन एड्रेस करने के लिए बाई पार्टीसान इन्विटेशन आया है, मतलब दोनों रिपब्लिकन्स भी डेमोक्रेट्स भी प्रधानमंत्री जी को इनवाइट किए एड्रेस करने के लिए। इस विजिट के दौरान अच्छा सा बहुत सारे टेक्नोलॉजी ट्रांसफर रिलेटेड विषय भी, डिफेंस प्रोडक्शन की टेक्नोलॉजी जो आवश्यकता पड़ती है वो सब का भी, पर्टिकुलरली हिंदुस्तान एरोनॉटिक लिमिटेड के साथ जो बेंगलुरु में स्थित गवर्नमेंट की कंपनी है, उसके लिए भी टेक्नोलॉजी और इंजन प्रोडक्शन का जो एग्रीमेंट हुआ है वो मैं मानती हूं बहुत अहम है। फिर जॉब क्रिएटिंग विषय में भी एग्रीमेंट्स जो उधर हुआ है, उसके कारण इधर टेक्नोलॉजी आना, इधर इन्वेस्टमेंट बढ़ाना और गूगल जैसे कंपनी और ज्यादा कमिट करना कि हम आकर के भारत में पूंजी निवेश ले आएंगे, ऐसे करने से हमारी रोजगार बहुत लेवल तक बढ़ाने का संभावना है। फिर इजिप्ट के विषय में भी मैं ये बात आपके सामने रखना चाह रही हूं। दुनिया में मुस्लिम पॉपुलेशन जहां मेजॉरिटी में है या ज्यादा संख्या में है, उनमें से 6वें स्थान पर है इजिप्ट। ऐसे देश में भारत के प्रधानमंत्री को सर्वोच्च एक सम्मान मिलना, ऑर्डर ऑफ नाइल मिलना, ये इसमें एक संदेश मिलता है कि ऐसे देशों में, ये प्रॉब्ली 6th कंट्री, इस्लामिक कंट्री जिसमें पॉपुलेशन ऑफ मुस्लिम ज्यादा है, ये ऐसे 6th कंट्री से भारत के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का ये अवार्ड मिलना बहुत ही संतोष का विषय है। अब तक 13 कंट्रीज से, इजिप्ट इंक्लूसिव 13 कंट्रीज से ऐसे हाईएस्ट ऑर्डर माननीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी को मिला हुआ है। इसीलिए मैं मानती हूं इजिप्ट के विषय में ग्रैंड मुफ्ती का स्थान बहुत अहम है। उन सोसाइटीज में मुफ्ती का स्थान बहुत ही सम्मानजनक माना जाता है। ग्रैंड मुफ्ती का भी प्रधानमंत्री जी से भेंट हुआ। फिर भारत के बोहरा कम्युनिटी इजिप्ट में बहुत अच्छा संख्या में प्रेजेंट है, वो उस कम्युनिटी से भी प्रधानमंत्री जी का मीटिंग हुआ। मैं मेरा ओपनिंग स्टेटमेंट में इतना कहकर क्वेश्चंस के लिए छोड़ देती हूँ। पार्टी के ओर से हम माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी को बहुत ही हर्ष व्यक्त करते हैं और उनको बधाई भी देना चाहते हैं कि अवार्ड मिला है और भारत के स्थान उनके मेहनत के कारण आज इतना ग्लोबल स्तर पर रिकग्निशन मिल रहा है। उसके लिए भारतीय जनता पार्टी के ओर मैंने बहुत ही आनंद व्यक्त करना चाहती हूँ। थैंक यू।
जतिन,
Ma'am, you will briefly explain the Prime Minister's visit to US, achievements and the significance. Concerns have been raised about how minorities are treated in the country. Opposition parties allege they are opting double standards while treating the minorities. What do you have to say on that?
I think on this question, I've briefly explained also as to how out of the 13 awards that he's been given till now as Prime Minister of the country, 6 have been given by countries where Muslims are in majority. Honorable Prime Minister himself during the press conference in US has said how his government works on Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas principle and doesn't discriminate against any community whatsoever. But the fact remains that repeatedly when people join in this debate and highlight issues which are non-issues in a way, because if there are issues in states which are to be raised, they are being raised at the state level. Law and order is a state subject. People are taking care of it. Elected governments are there in each of the states which respond to it. To just allege without basic data in hand just tells us that these are organized campaigns which purposely are being leveled at the doorstep of the Prime Minister. Otherwise, why would countries give such an honor to Prime Minister? And why would there be a distortion in understanding how India and its minority population, irrespective of which religion they belong to, minority population, are being part of the Indian mainstream?
Any question? Anand Pandey, TV9.
मैम, ये सवाल पूछे जा रहे हैं, जैसे कि बीजेपी ने पूछा था कि भारत में अल्पसंख्यकों के अधिकारों के लिए सरकार क्या कर रही है। राहुल गांधी भी जब विदेश जाते हैं तो ये सवाल उठाते हैं, लेकिन इजिप्ट के ग्रांड मुफ्ती हैं, वो खुद बोल रहे हैं कि प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी अपने यहाँ सभी धर्मों के लोगों को लेकर एक साथ चल रहे हैं और जो बहुलतावाद है उसको बढ़ावा दे रहे हैं।
आप सही कह रहे हैं कि ग्रांड मुफ्ती ऑफ इजिप्ट भी ऐसे बयान दे रहे हैं, मगर मैं मानती हूं कि इस देश में ही क्योंकि राजनीतिक तरीके से बीजेपी एनडीए गवर्नमेंट के खिलाफ, प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी के खिलाफ चुनावी रास्ता में, ठीक है ये कर्नाटका में एक जीत हुई उसको मैं बोल नहीं रही, मगर राजनीतिक रास्ते में चलते हुए जीतने का उनका संभावना नहीं दिख रही, इसीलिए ऐसे कैंपेन चला रहे हैं। और इसमें कांग्रेस पार्टी का रोल पिछले चुनाव से और उससे पहले वाले चुनाव से भी बहुत ही स्पष्ट दिखता है, जहां पाकिस्तान में जाकर के उनके मदद मांग रहे हैं कि भारत में सरकार बदलना है, आप भी एक हाथ जोड़ो करके। और ऐसे टूल किट्स जो विदेश में चलती है उन सबको भी अभी काम में लगाया हुआ है। इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि उनका अपने आप के ऊपर भरोसा नहीं है कि जनता उनका सुनेंगे, इसलिए ऐसे रास्ते अपना करके प्रधानमंत्री जी के खिलाफ ऐसे एलिगेशन डाल रहे हैं जो बेबुनियाद है। और ऐसे एलिगेशन डालने वाले का पीछे भी देखना चाहिए। जो कल मेरे बहुत ही आश्चर्यजनक हुई कि उसी समय जब माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी यूएस में कैंपेन कर रहे हैं, उस समय कैंपेन मतलब भारत के विषय में सबके सामने विषय बोल रहे हैं, उस समय एक पूर्व राष्ट्रपति यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स का बयान दे रहे हैं भारत के मुस्लिम्स, जबकि विदेश के विषय के बारे में मैं थोड़ा संयम रखते हुए बोल रही हूं। यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स के विषय में हम अच्छा फ्रेंडशिप चाहते हैं, मगर उधर से भी भारत के रिलीजियस टॉलरेंस के ऊपर एक यूएससीआईआरएफ है, उनके कमेंट्स आ जाता है। राष्ट्रपति जी ने कुछ बातें बोल रहे हैं जहां शायद 6 देशों के खिलाफ जहां मुस्लिम पॉपुलेशन डोमिनेंट है, बॉम्बिंग हुई उन्हीं के कालों में। सीरिया से लेकर के यमन के लेकर के सऊदी के लेकर के इराक के लेकर के बॉम्बिंग नहीं हुआ। मोर देन 28,000, मेरे पास इतना स्पष्ट डेटा नहीं है, 7 कंट्री के खिलाफ उसी समय झगड़ा, वॉर लाइक सिचुएशन डेवलप हुआ और मोर देन 26,000 बॉम्ब्स वे ड्रॉप्ड। ऐसे जब कंट्रीज उनके अपनी तरफ से उनके राजनीतिक निर्णय के बारे में वो करते हैं, भारत के खिलाफ एलिगेशन डालने में कहां उसको सुनने वाले लोग भी भरोसा रखेंगे। इसलिए मैं मानती हूं ये सब हमारे विपक्ष भी बाहर जाकर के बात करने के समय भारत के हित में नहीं बात करते हैं, क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी को वो डिफीट कर नहीं पाएंगे, ऐसे लोगों को उछालते हैं और वो भी इनके कारण इस बहस में शामिल हो जाते हैं बिना ग्राउंड लेवल डिटेल्स को लेते हुए।
विनीत टीवी 18।
मैम, जिस तरह से आपने बताया कि 6 मुस्लिम देशों का सर्वोच्च नागरिक सम्मान पीएम को मिला है, लेकिन कई मुस्लिम नेता जो है या फिर कई राजनेता जो है पीएम नरेंद्र मोदी की मुस्लिम नीति को लेकर के लगातार विरोध करते रहते हैं। ओवैसी की सभा में हमने देखा महाराष्ट्र में औरंगजेब के नारे लगे, औरंगजेब जिंदाबाद के नारे लगे, कैसे देखती है मैम इसे?
ये सब मैं यही बात करने के लिए कोशिश करते हैं। आई विश टू से दिस इन इंग्लिश, you may please get it translated in Hindi. I find this deliberate attempt to vitiate the atmosphere in this country because they think they cannot win against the developmental policies of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Whether giving the poor a house, a toilet, electricity or cooking cylinder, to giving samman to women, to making sure that every policy of the government works for the poor and understanding democracy and supporting democracy. They are just not able to defeat Prime Minister Modi on these things, and therefore they create an atmosphere where people think there is insecurity in this country. Tell me, how many people who are speaking in this country have even been questioned? All those people who are questioning Prime Minister Modi's achievements should please put on table their own achievements before they bring in allegations like this.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Home Minister Ji has spoken about it, so there's no need. Yesterday there was an all-party meeting also. There's no need to add on to it.
How do you look into the opposition meeting held at Patna 2 days back?
Yeah, they're coming together. I don't know for what. Their one-point agenda is defeat BJP. But are they saying what they will do to people? During their tenure, highest level of corruption prevailed in this country. Whereas now, 9 years have passed by, only development and development-related activities are happening, not one whisper of corruption. So first let them offer as to what they will do to the people rather than say, if you have to defeat Modi. That cannot be a negative agenda, cannot be what people want to hear from you. Say what you're going to do to the people.
Last question. जी।
इतने सारे सेमीकंडक्टर से लेकर डिफेंस इंजन और कई सारे जो इकोनॉमिक हमारे टाइप
गूगल भी ला रहा है, AI की बात की, तो ये सब बीइंग ए फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर आप कहाँ देख रहे हैं अगर जो इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ है इससे इसको कितना बूस्ट मिलेगा? बिकॉज इस साल हमारी इकोनॉमी जो है लास्ट दिसंबर तक $3.75 ट्रिलियन की हो जाएगी। तो क्या ये जो हमारा टाइप हुआ है और इतना बड़ा जो खास करके सेमीकंडक्टर में हम आ रहे हैं, तो ये और भी जिससे कि ऑटोमोबाइल से लेकर कई सारे इंडस्ट्री को बूस्ट मिलेगा, तो ये कहाँ तक हमारी इकोनॉमी को बूस्ट करेगा? और क्या हम लोग नेक्स्ट फाइनेंशियल ईयर जो है उसमें 4th पोजीशन पे आ जाएंगे?
नहीं, उसके लिए डेफिनेटली मेहनत हो रही है, वो विषय आपके संज्ञान में रखना चाह रही हूँ। मगर ये सेमीकंडक्टर और इन्वेस्टमेंट इन सच टेक्नोलॉजीज इतना रैपिड स्पीड में भारत देश में हो रही है, जिससे सीधा असर जनता के ऊपर पड़ रही है। और जो अभी यूएस में साइन हुआ कि 65,000 हमारे लोगों को इस कारण ट्रेनिंग भी देंगे आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस में, मतलब तुरंत हमारे युवा को इन एरियाज में सास सॉफ्टवेयर एज ए सर्विस, इसमें भी डेटा सेंटर्स में, ग्लोबल डेटा सेंटर्स में भी ये सब काम में आएगा। तुरंत इसका असर हमारे देश में पड़ेगा। मैं नास्कॉम के एक डेटा आपके सामने रखना चाहती हूँ, सब्जेक्ट टू करेक्शन। ग्लोबली मान लीजिए ग्लोबल डेटा सेंटर्स जो बड़ा बड़ा व्यवस्था है, डेटा होल्डिंग का, डेटा शेयरिंग का, डेटा प्रोटेक्शन रिलेटेड अंशों का ऊपर, और उसको डीप डाइव करने के लिए, डेटा का उपयोग करने के लिए ग्लोबल डेटा सेंटर्स बना रहे हैं पूरे दुनिया में। जहां तक मैंने सुना, अगर 100 सेंटर्स ऐसे दुनिया में सेटअप हो रही हैं, भारत में ऑलरेडी 50 हैव बीन सेटअप। आप नंबर का उदाहरण मैं सामने इसीलिए रख रही हूं, अगर पूरे दुनिया में 100 सेंटर्स रख रहे हैं, भारत में 50 सेंटर्स का ऑलरेडी एस्टैब्लिशमेंट का काम पूरे होने के कगार में है। और जो बाकी 50 दुनिया में है, उसमें काम करने वाले हमारे ही लोग जा रहे हैं। उसका असर हम थोड़ा समझना चाहिए कि इसके कारण हम विदेश में पूरे डेटा, पूरे सॉफ्टवेयर ऐसे जगह में भारत का लीडरशिप रोल और उसका असर पूरे हमारे इकोनॉमी के ऊपर कैसे पड़ रहा है। इसके कारण जॉब्स में भी, इसके कारण सब सर्विसिंग, सेकेंड लेयर इफेक्ट जो बोलते हैं, सब सर्विसिंग, इनका सर्विस करने वाले दूसरे का सर्विस करने वाले, ऐसे साइक्लिकली इसका असर पूरे इकोनॉमी में पड़ रही है। उसका डेटा विवरण भी आजकल नास्कॉम के द्वारा बहुत आ रही है पब्लिक में। भारत देश का लीडरशिप आज आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, टेक्नोलॉजी ड्रिवन सर्विसेज और सास, इन सभी एरिया में पूरे दुनिया में रिकॉग्नाइज कर रहे हैं। इसका असर पॉजिटिव है इकोनॉमी के ऊपर।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Will AI take your job away? This is one question that I've been asked probably 100 times because AI tools are all over the place right now. And guess what? AI probably will not take your job away, but someone who knows how to leverage these AI tools will. We did a quick survey at Growth School asking our learners on how many of them actually understood how to use AI tools like ChatGPT properly. Guess what? Only 1.2% of them said they are very confident with these AI tools. What that actually means is 98.8% of the people who actually know how to leverage this insanely powerful AI tools can be 100x more productive than you are. Now that is scary, and the reason why that is scary is because those people who know how to use these tools can use it as an unfair advantage to continue to grow. If you are part of that 98.8% of people who don't know how to leverage it, I have something very interesting for you. Guys, the AI revolution is here and it is here to stay. Picture this, Tony Stark would have gone out of business watching billions of people having access to his personal Jarvis for free. Deloitte, which recently did a survey from their employees, something that was taking 6 months for their employees to do was being able to achieve in 1 week using AI tools. So, with the right set of tools, you can create thousands of clones of yourself, seamlessly generate content, create designs as a designer, as a product manager you can get people PR is done, and become a creator as you sleep. So start using AI tools now and get a competitive advantage. Imagine having a Picasso or a Van Gogh paint your ideas, or having David Ogilvy himself writing a landing page copy, and you can do all of this using tools like ChatGPT, Midjourney, essentially for free. The possibilities are endless, and if I got your interest with everything that I just spoke about, I welcome you all to the 3-hour insanely powerful AI workshop for people who can't code but want to leverage the power of AI in their work. It doesn't matter if you're a marketer, if you're a founder, if you're a product person, if you're a designer, if you're a techie, or anything for that matter. You need to learn the power of AI and how you could use that in your daily work, and that's exactly what I'll be covering. Let me quickly run you through things that I will be covering in this workshop. We'll start with understanding all this hype about AI and ChatGPT and where they fit in and how it is transforming too. 2, you'll discover the power of ChatGPT. Guess what? A lot of people think they know how to use ChatGPT, but most of them don't. ChatGPT is not about asking a question and getting an answer. There's an art to it on how you can get the right answers by asking the right questions, and that's pretty much what we're gonna touch base on. We will also touch base on specific use cases and prompts with which you can make ChatGPT work as an interviewer for you, with which you can get ChatGPT to write cold emails which are super personalized, and also things like vetting your resume, comparing that to a job description, and telling you what are the things that you can change or not. The possibilities are absolutely endless, and this is just the first part of the workshop. We don't just stop there. We go deep dive into tens of tools which will teach you things like cloning yourself, cloning your voice, using Chrome extensions with which you can automatically reply to social media content, apply for jobs at scale, so on and on and on. We will not only talk about text to text, but we'll also go deep dive on how can you generate videos and images from just some text prompts. And I'll tell you one thing for sure, after this 3 hours of mind-boggling session, you will come out as a new person, a person who's powered by AI. Click on the link below and register. Trust me, you're not going to regret this.
Did you know that learning Microsoft Power BI can be the smartest move to make in your career right now? Because companies like SAP, Mphasis, Capgemini, Accenture, Larsen & Toubro, Wipro, Sony, Infosys, and many more are hiring professionals who can build dashboards in Power BI just like this. And if you aspire to work with these companies with an amazing salary package, Power BI is a must-have skill for you. You don't even need to know how to code or have any prior experience in the skill to learn it. Hi, I'm Jatan Shah, a Microsoft certified trainer, and after helping over 32,000 professionals master Microsoft Power BI, I'm here to help you learn everything about Power BI and make you a certified Power BI expert in just 2 days. I invite you to join me in my 2-day live Power BI domination workshop, where you will learn how to use artificial intelligence to make amazing dashboards without any coding required, use Power BI to get key insights from all your data and track all your KPIs, and master data analysis and data visualization. By the end of this workshop, you will be equipped with enough knowledge and skills to confidently apply for job roles of business analysts, data analysts, and even have business intelligence experience for dream companies. Hurry up, click on the link below and register for the workshop at just rupees 299, and when you do, you also get bonuses worth rupees 16,000 for absolutely free. I will see you inside the workshop.
Atalji always knew me as happy. So, in fact, I remember once I had gone to meet him when he was Prime Minister. I sent him a note with my name, Piyush Goyal. And for about half an hour or 40 minutes, I was waiting outside his office. As soon as I walked into the room, he says, "Arey, happy तुम हो?" मुझे बताया क्यों नहीं? I said, "I sent you a chat." And he says, "Piyush Goyal कौन है?" He was that loving kinds, and रात को 2-3 बजे कभी meetings करके big campaigns and all, he would come home. मैं पाँव दबाता था, हाथ दबाता था. Can I be your hype man?
Oh, sure, sir.
So let's look for seeing you as the most successful YouTuber in the country,
Thank
if not the world.
Thank you, sir. Or the first YouTuber switches to politics and gets mentored by Piyush Goyal to
That is an interesting proposition. You got me there. So let's go for Mr. Allahabadia joining politics soon.
I will say something slightly spicy in the end. I won't be surprised if at some point, okay, cool. Another epic episode of TRS is here. This one is the first ever political interview that we're releasing on the Ranveer show. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. This is with Cabinet Minister Piyush Goyal ji. This was a lot of fun because honestly, he came down to my level and spoke to me not like a cabinet minister, but kind of like a big brother. You'll know what I mean when you watch the entire podcast. My intention with political podcasts is to make it unpolitical, is to talk about development, is to talk about the future of India, and most importantly, it's to talk about the human behind the cabinet minister. Many more cabinet minister interviews are coming up thanks to TRS in association with MyGov. Make sure you stay tuned for all our upcoming episodes. Lots of cool stuff coming up. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, this is Shri Piyush Goyal, Minister of Industries and Commerce, giving his first ever podcast to yours truly. This one was fun. You're going to have fun and you're going to learn a lot. So make sure you watch it once again after you watch it for the first time, because there's a lot to learn from a political life.
I have to get these. Maybe this will work. Dead, you stupid leggings! I hate Bliss Club! Sorry, ladies, but Bliss Club's activewear is so insanely durable that it comes with a 100-day buy and try policy. So, you won't have an excuse to replace your activewear for a while. Buy Bliss Club's activewear and try them for 100 days. Don't love them? Get a 100% refund.
Piyush Goyal, sir, how are you?
Top of the world.
I'm very excited about this particular conversation.
Me too. I didn't know so much about your podcast till recently, and it looks to be an exciting format.
No, I'm very excited to be having this conversation with you because I have often seen you on television schooling some people, and schooling is always an outcome of a lot of data and experience. Every episode, I do a lot of research. And I can never bring up research points, but I can read between the lines of my research. The one thing that stuck out is, do you watch cricket by any chance? A little bit?
In the earlier days, now we don't get the time.
I would like to call you a bit of an all-rounder in this political world. You've handled so many different ministries, done so many different things.
Actually, that was a great opportunity because you learn so much, when you're moved around and areas which are technical like power and renewable energy was very exciting when you're looking at sustainability and the new age energy sources. I got a brief stint in finance, which was great learnings also. Ran the railways, which was a unique experience, the largest employer in the country after the army and the paramilitary forces. So I think everywhere I gained a lot. I learned a lot.
How do you begin? Like, how does the studying begin? Say you're given a new ministry. Do you study for it? Like, where do you start?
No, we don't know. We get to know as the day starts. You get to know that you're now going to be looking after this ministry. But I think the trick of the trade is, the first rule I tell all my colleagues is, forget everything we've done in the past. Don't ever tell me this is how we used to do it. We look at everything afresh. I learn, you relearn.
Okay. Can I shift gears now?
Anywhere.
Are you happy in life?
I love it.
Yeah. What's the best and worst things about your life?
Well, I can tell you that I have two wonderful kids and a fantastic wife who looks after me and my kids like anything. And nothing could be greater than that because that's kept us all together. She's made sure the kids study well, make a mark in life, are respected. She's kept the dignity of the family. So all that has been the best thing that happened to me. But of course, this opportunity to work in government for 9 years, it's probably the best thing that could have happened to me. It's something I always wanted right from childhood. Not coming into government or becoming a minister, but wanting to give back. It was ingrained in me at a very young age, and I think there can be no better medium than politics or public life to give back to society.
But then it's all worth it because every decision is affecting the country's growth in some way.
In some sense, not necessarily every decision, but you take a lot of decisions which can impact large part of the country, often even beyond. And that satisfaction is to die for. Really, it's something that I've always craved, and the reason why I wanted to be in politics, and the satisfaction you get, let's say, when the Prime Minister announces that in COVID, we're going to give double the normal food grain to 80 crore people, free of cost, so that not a single child sleeps hungry. And you get an opportunity to actually run that program on his behalf, under his guidance. It's so satisfying, I can't tell you.
Do you think of the spiritual side of what you do? You're influencing so many lives at the same time through your work.
I am spiritual. I'm very religious also. I believe destiny decides for a lot of things for us. And clearly, if I'm able to do good for a large set of people, particularly our brother Indians, brother and sisters from our homeland, it is a lot of satisfaction.
Okay.
Undoubtedly.
There's this urban legend which says that you were mentored by Atal Bihari Vajpayee and L.K. Advani when you were a child because your parents are also from the world of politics. Is it true that you got coached when you were a kid?
I won't call it coaching, but it's a very natural transition in your life. I could have been like any other kid, going to school, playing games, enjoying life. But due to the family background, we had this constant flow of senior leaders coming and staying with us at home, and you gradually become close to them. The other day, I was remembering in another program that Mr. Vajpayee used to come and stay at my home even before I was born. But but he was a very shy person. He was never very open and chatty and meeting up with people in the home. He would come like a guest, stay and go away. But one day in the afternoon, I was playing marbles to myself. I was all alone.
क्या आपको पता है that your body gives you signs? Signs that say your body needs your attention. थोड़ी एक्स्ट्रा केयर. हेयर फॉल से एक्ने तक ये वो साइंस है जो हमारी बॉडी हमें देती है. इन्हें समझिए बी बॉडी वाइज के साथ एंड गिव योर बॉडी द राइट पर्सनलाइज्ड केयर. बी बॉडी वाइज वर्क्स विद योर बॉडी. Learn more at bbodywise.com.
We had a wall-to-wall carpet, so it was easy to play marbles on that. And I was trying to hit a marble barely 3 or 4 feet away, and I was very bad at sports. Always bad at sports. Any sort.
That's why we do so many podcasts today to make up for that void on the inside. That's why we take up so many ministries. No, I'm kidding.
And he came in, and he was nice and big in a lungi. He came in. He plonked himself on a puffy there. He took the marble from me, and something stick to your mind. He used the small finger. I still remember it, like as if it happened yesterday. And with this small finger on his knee, the thumb, and he goes 8 feet away, bang, hits the marble. And I think I became his fan that day. It was a day which made him very close to me. We started chatting with each other. There were times when people used to say that he's refusing to do a program, Piyush. Now you have to go and get him to do it. In fact, he didn't know my name till he became Prime Minister. He only knew me with my pet name. He just didn't know who Piyush Goyal is.
What was your pet name?
Happy.
Okay.
That also
just
was
checking.
kept by somebody who would come home from within our RSS circles. And he saw me as a child in the cradle and he said, oh, he's so happy, we should call him Happy. So my name became Happy. And Atalji always knew me as Happy. So in fact, I remember once I had gone to meet him when he was Prime Minister. I sent him a note with my name, Piyush Goyal, went in. And for about half an hour or 40 minutes, I was waiting outside his office. And after 30, 40 minutes, I said, if he's not called me, maybe I should go. So I told his secretary that, look, I'm leaving now. I must have got surprised that somebody has got an appointment to come and meet the Prime Minister and he's walking away without meeting. So he said, give me a moment. He went in, came out. He said, you've been called inside. As soon as I walked into the room, he says, "Arey, Happy तुम हो?" He, मुझे बताया क्यों नहीं? I said, I sent you a chat. And he says, Piyush Goyal कौन है? So he was that loving kinds and रात को 2-3 बजे कभी meetings करके big campaigns and all, he would come home. मैं पाँव दबाता था, हाथ दबाता था. He used to really tire himself out. And those days there were no luxuries. You had to travel in a non-air conditioned Fiat car, driving 100, 200 kilometers to do public meetings late into the night, come home. So he used to be really tired and in pain. But he would always ask, how's the family? तुम क्या कर रहे हो? स्कूल में क्या हो रहा है? बाहर क्या लोग बोलते हैं? बाहर क्या बातें सुनते हो? स्कूल में बाकी बच्चे क्या बोलते हैं? He always was very keen to have a feedback. What the young people are saying, what I hear outside, what other people who come home are saying. So it became a beautiful relationship, almost till the end. And I think those memories are really something I'll carry with me all through my life.
What was his most special human trait that gave him that kind of legacy, according to you?
He was very, very humanitarian. He believed that this country deserves better, that we can do so much more for the nation. He was a poet at heart, always. In fact, I remember once he comes home in the afternoon and gives me a diary in which he had probably penned down some poetry in the journey to Mumbai. And he gives it to me and he says, "Ye padho." And he left it with me. Now, Atalji as a poet was not one of those who used to always rhyme his sentences. And I don't know about you, but what we learned about poetry in school was you have to rhyme. You have to rhyme and then say dime or whatever. It has to rhyme. You say school and then you use another word which rhymes with school. Maybe fool.
Yeah.
But his poetry was not rhyming. So when he came back in the night, I said, Chacha ji, I used to call him Chacha ji. Chacha ji, ये क्या लिखा है? उसमें कुछ समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है. वैसे भी उनकी हिंदी इतनी हाई फ्लाइंग थी, कुछ समझ ही नहीं आ रहा था. And he took it from me, just kept it aside. But it was that lovely relationship where I could tell him that.
But did you notice any fiery tiger-style leader in him at all? Was there anything that gave that away? Or it was all on the inside?
He wasn't very fiery. He was a very fun-loving, simple man. Very simple life he led.
Okay.
But a deep thinker. I know that he used to be thinking very, very much about the nation, about what's happening in the country, what could be done better. He was always concerned that the people deserve better. And I think his unfinished agenda, frankly, Prime Minister Modi has taken forward very, very ably. And I get a chance to work with Mr. Modi and to contribute a little bit is a matter of great satisfaction.
Do you think you become better with age as a leader?
హాలిడే ప్లానింగ్ ఇదేదో తెలుగు మూవీలా లేదు. అన్నదమ్ముల మధ్య గొడవ,
అంతే బ్రేక్ఫాస్ట్ ఇంక్లూడ్ అయితే చాలు.
నిస్సహాయమైన అమ్మ,
బడ్జెట్ లో వస్తుందా?
పిసినారి శెట్టి నన్ను కాపాడడానికి ఈల వేస్తూ వస్తున్న హీరో. 16 కోట్ల యాప్ డౌన్లోడ్స్, 29 లక్షల హోటల్స్ మరియు హోమ్ స్టేస్ అతి తక్కువ ధరలకే. ఈ పిక్చర్ హిట్ అయింది, అది కూడా ట్రై చేయండి.
I think different people have different experiences, and within each person, you have both the good and the bad. So maybe some of your habits don't die, and with age, they get worse. But you also mature with age, you also sober down with age, you also start becoming more wiser or compassionate with age. So it's a mixed bag.
Like, probably the one thing that increases for everyone is empathy or compassion. Probably.
Not necessarily for everyone. I hope it would increase for everyone. The world would be a better place to live in. Certainly it has in me. Today also, when I recount that Mr. Modi is the first Prime Minister who thought of our sisters, our mothers, our daughters not having a toilet to go to. Half the country didn't have toilets until 2014.
Yep.
Now, so many governments came and went. Nobody thought about a simple thing like a toilet. And here you have a Prime Minister who spends nearly $20 billion just building toilets for the poor. But imagine what a great matter of satisfaction it is to all of us that we protected the dignity of our women folk.
Yeah.
It's a small thing. People ridiculed him when he talked about cleanliness, Swachh Abhiyan, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan on 15th August 2014. But today we realize the game-changing dimensions that it has.
I think the long-term Swachh Bharat is also going to have a role to play in travel, which is then going to unlock even so much more money. That's the big complaint we've had even on the show, in terms of if all of India was just more hygienic, you'd attract a lot of people from all over the world to see our beautiful country, and there's so much to see. But is this whole tourism in order to make money a conversation that you guys have?
I'll give you a small example that will tell you all.
Sure.
You've heard of the Statue of Unity?
Yeah.
In Kevadia,
Yes,
Gujarat?
Sir. Yes, sir.
The monument in honor of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, which Prime Minister Modi built. When I first went and saw it, it's a absolutely scintillating experience. Just can't get over it. The museum, the whole facilities, the whole ecosystem that's developing around it. I'd gone actually to do the Bhumi Pujan, the groundbreaking ceremony for a railway station, to bring rail connectivity, which we did in a record time, to the Statue of Unity. When I came back, I went to meet him and I was telling him how much I enjoyed visiting the place. You know, the Nirmala Dam in the background with water behind it. It's just truly awe-inspiring. So while I was talking to him, I said, sir, I can see that we could possibly have a 1 lakh crore ecosystem around it, with tourists coming in and we can create facilities and all. So he looks up at me and he says, do you think I've just created a statue? Obviously, the whole intention is that we create the whole ecosystem. It's a tribal area. People will benefit. People will get work. People will get jobs. We'll have millions of tourists coming over there. We'll transform that whole area. And believe me, today, we have millions of tourists going there a year, both national and international. You can't go to the top because it's full pack the whole day. Getting a seat onto the lift to go up is very, very difficult. Unless you book in advance, which is all, of course, technologically enabled online. But you can spend 3 or 4 days there and enjoy the whole experience. And I realized that Prime Minister Modi was actually thinking 3 or 4 steps ahead of what any of us imagined when we were all talking about the Statue of Unity.
Gotcha.
Similarly, when you look at Banaras, I don't know, did you get a chance to go to Banaras?
I have, sir. We recorded a lot of videos there.
Recently?
Yes.
With the new temple?
Yes.
Complex?
Yes, sir.
My God, have you seen it before?
I have actually. Yeah.
So you can see the dimensions of change there?
Yeah.
Now, I recently was told that the number of people who visit that temple is now 10x. And it's been only a short period of time, a year and a half now. This way it's going, I think we can set up probably 50 or 100 hotels in Banaras.
Yeah.
And it'll fall short.
It's a bit of a rudimentary question, but I get this question from a lot of my white friends and my friends from Africa and Arab friends. They ask a lot about the jungles, the beaches, and the mountains. So, is this also something you guys focus on? Developing?
Of course, it's biodiversity at its best in India. When the world is talking about sustainability, we have always believed in sustainability.
How do you convince the common man to be even more hygienic? I think that's the main kind of problem right now.
It comes very naturally. You don't need to do much. Just keep the place clean for a few days. Okay. Nobody will ever dirty it.
Okay.
In this room, will you dare to, or will you even think of throwing something on the ground? You won't. But if there was a small pile of garbage there, while walking out, you wouldn't have minded a piece of paper or a tissue paper. You wouldn't, because it already looks like a garbage dump. The idea is we have to get the place cleaned up once. Maintenance of cleanliness is not very expensive.
Okay.
Human being intrinsically likes cleanliness.
Yeah.
Tell me, even the poorest of poor in the village also, he keeps his own village, his hut, his surroundings very clean.
Yeah. I feel there was a lot of wrong things that happened because of colonialism in India. Systems were messed up. Lots of things were messed up. And over the last 75 years, we've been cleaning up the mess. And now it's that final 20% that's left, where we're trying to undo mindsets, be it in education, be it even about hygiene. I don't think traditionally we're unhygienic. I don't know how it's gotten introduced, but it's my theory. Something's gone on there. Maybe it's a conspiracy theory. I don't know.
Well, I wouldn't get down to conspiracies on this. But yes, I think there was a vested interest in keeping India uneducated, keeping India unorganized, making sure the Indians don't start knowing about the good things of life. And that was a systematic effort over hundreds of years, jo gulami ki mansikta ki baat hoti hai. And I think Prime Minister Modi, all of us are very, very focused that we have to get rid of that colonial mindset.
Yes.
And a simple thing like even our graduation ceremonies, that may be good for the winter months of the developed world. But I don't see any reason to have that gown with the cap and all in this heat of India.
Yeah.
I think we normally graduate in April, May, June, that period, right?
Yes, sir.
We'd rather have a nice kurta pajama or angavastra to graduate in. And gradually I see a lot of universities and colleges are doing that.
So as a YouTuber, I represent the youth primarily. That's my main demographic, and it's gradually changing because people like yourself are appearing on my show. I gotta share something I have learned. We have a Hindi channel as well, which we started 5 years ago.
Can I interrupt?
Sure.
I mean, you are pretending you're a youth. What about me? I'm very old.
He's just an elder brother kind of youth figure.
That's it. I thought you're almost making a father figure out of
No, not at all. You're a big brother figure. Is that okay? Okay, fine. So you get a top-down view of people through data on YouTube. And especially if you upload a lot of videos, you know what people are watching, you know what people are interested in. On our Hindi channel, it's almost now become difficult to create content for the common man because they're getting that much smarter. And this wasn't the case in 2016 when the whole Geo boom happened, when we had just begun. You had to start off content from the ABCs. And now they're writing full-fledged essays. And in some cases, the Hindi content is of a higher level than the English content. Because I feel urban audiences kind of reject a lot of conversation if it comes out of a brown person. But Hindi-speaking audiences lap it up because they feel relatability. So I want to ask you from your macro perspective, because you're literally running the country here. What's changed?
Try to think of it. How many people in India really speak English? It's a very small population which is conversant with English. We believe that in South everybody speaks English. It's not so. It's the elite and a small section of Southern India which speaks English. And of course, a certain section across the country. But if I remember the last census figures, whereas English was the natural language for nearly 70% people, English was not even in double digits. So I think it's very natural that the Hindi-speaking audiences are going to be more demanding. And I'm sure all of you YouTubers will be better off also
Yeah.
meeting the needs of the Hindi-speaking audience.
What are you excited about from the youth perspective of the country? Like where we're going in the next 10 years? I'm excited about entrepreneurship. I think that's going to take off a lot more. But
Clearly, and because Startup India mission was launched by Prime Minister Modi in 2016, and it's housed in my ministry here, I see exactly what's happening. We have 100,000 startups today registered. With,
mine's a part of startup.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
We have over 100 unicorns. You are one in the making.
Yeah, one in the making.
And I see the dynamism of the youth when I connect with them, meet with them all over the country. It's so exciting. It's so rejuvenating to connect with them. Having said that, I think YouTubers are also playing a very important social role. Your focus on hygiene, for example, today is music to my ears. 7 or 8 shows like this on different YouTube channels, you'll get the youth also connected and thinking about it. I don't know whether the youth today, since they have not had to face many of the difficulties that, at my age or my parents' age, they had to face. For example, electricity. Now, youth today doesn't know what it is like to live without electricity. My father did. He didn't have electricity in his home. He would study under a street lamp. Maybe by the time your father or I and my son or you came into adulthood, we didn't have to face the kind of difficulties Mr. Modi had to face as a child or our earlier generations had. The struggles of the partition, for example. Now, a lot of lessons we can learn from history. And YouTubers like you actually are playing that social role and very, very important contribution to society. That when you propagate the past, the present, you generate hope for the future. And I think that aspirational India, the 140 crore Indians, today with their basic needs largely taken care of, aspiring for all the good things of life that they see on internet, that they see on your show, that they see on television. That's what is driving India. Okay. That's going to supercharge the future of India.
Just do more of what we're doing. That's basically...
Do lots more.
Okay. How do we work with the government to just help you guys? I'm going to make a bit of a sharp statement here. I strongly believe you guys are going to be in power for a very long time. So we might as well talk about a 5, 10, 15, 20-year plan. How do influencers like social media folks help you guys more to take the country further?
Don't help the government. Help the country.
Okay.
Your job is to take care of the country's interests. And then you'll automatically be helping us. You'll be helping everybody.
Like entrepreneurship again.
No. Now let me put it this way. First of all, we need to generate the confidence in our people. Every Indian should feel confident that together we can make India a developed nation. Now imagine if 10 of you at different forums talk about bold, big measures that we are all going to take together to make India a prosperous nation. It'll rub off on others.
Gotcha.
It'll excite people to do more.
Okay.
Integrity and a corruption-free India. Suppose more and more of you talk about it. Giving a bribe is worse, if you ask me, than the guy who's asking for it. Make your voice vocal. Speak about it. Speak up against such people.
Okay.
Let's get the youth of India, encourage them to fight against corruption. Let's encourage the youth of India to go in for skills rather than just degrees.
Okay.
Let's pass on the message that there's no work which is demeaning. You'll have a Bill Gates son or daughter working in a McDonald's in America. There's dignity of labor. If we can spread the word of dignity of labor.
Gotcha.
I can continue on and on, but believe me, government cannot do everything. We are all in it together. And if we are all going to align ourselves, keeping only one basic fundamental in mind, that we are not going to fall prey to misinformation. We are not going to become proponents of misinformation. We are not going to start trying to appease a section of society or dividing society. We're going to be trying to get everybody connected and connected with hope for the future, with confidence for the future.
Okay.
No power on earth can stop India, my friend.
Okay. I carry the word of the common man. if you talk to, like, say an auto rickshaw driver, and if I had to tell him that I'm interviewing politicians on my show, one of the first reactions is, "Arey, sab corrupt hote hain." It's like a very common like stereotype. How much do you have to face this where people make assumptions about you guys? And how true is it? Like how murky is your world? I'm asking a very raw question here.
Well, every field has its good and bad moments and good and bad attributes. There will be a few black sheep in every profession. You can't wish them away. Obviously, you desire that they're not successful and they don't succeed in their ways. But we see all around us, whether it's in business, whether it's in politics, whether it's in the bureaucracy, so much so that it could be in every walk of life, including technology world.
Yeah.
Right? So when an e-commerce site, let's say, uses an algorithm and guides customers' choice towards one direction, whoever gives them the highest premium or highest commission, I think that's as wrong as is somebody else cheating the public in another way.
Yeah.
So I think in every walk of life, there'll be the good, there'll be the bad, and there'll be the ugly. Life is not black and white, my friend. Several
shades
areas,
of gray.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think all of us should make our sincerest attempt to work towards purity, to work towards white. And it's very much possible. I've been in government 9 years, and I have the courage of conviction to say that I didn't have to stray even once.
Okay.
And I was able to take decisions boldly. I was able to take decisions which were at times very impactful, at times could be misunderstood, and very often, if not always, criticized by the opposition. But as Prime Minister Modi has given us that confidence, we have to stay the course.
Yeah.
We have to be self-confident. We have to believe in our abilities, our commitment, and our integrity. But then the pathway is very, very easy.
Yeah. The question wasn't in any means a jibe at you. It was just like
I appreciate. Politicians have earned themselves a lot of ill will. I think Mr. Modi is set out to try and improve things.
Yeah. I was asking that question from the perspective of people my age wanting to get into politics and then fearing the shark pool. So tell us a little bit about the first steps in that shark pool.
When you first came on the show and did this podcast, I'm sure you must have been a little fearful also.
Yeah. Back in the day.
Second time.
Kept getting better.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
Everybody who desires to serve in public life will have a little bit of trepidation, some fears, some concerns. And I tell you, it's the honest people who are always more scared. It's not the dishonest who's worried. It's the honest who's worried. And I respect that worry. But I still believe we need lots and lots of good people coming into public life. I don't know if by the time you learned computers, this was being taught at all. But when I learned computers, one of the first things they would teach us is garbage in, garbage out. The computer is only processing whatever you feed it. Politics is somewhat like that. If we were all good people, willing to engage with politics, willing to get involved, willing to work despite a lot of adversity, we can truly transform the future of India.
What's the
I invite you to join politics.
Maybe. If I find a mentor, you never. I had this.
I'm happy to offer myself.
Really?
Absolutely. If you are willing to look at society, look at your brothers and sisters in India, 140 crore Indians, as your responsibility, as people you care for, as people whose lives matter to you. I think you love being in politics. You can really contribute.
2 questions. One, I know that anyone in the world of politics is a very sharp reader of people. So you've read something and I want to know what you've read in me. 2, what is the basic skill set you actually need? Like there has to be some sort of basic potential energy there. Like Kohli, the first time he picked up a bat, probably hit the ball well. So what's the basic skill set?
I think, first of all, when it comes to you, I think your honesty shows and you have a smile which is infectious. And in politics, both are very important.
Really?
Very important.
Like your look?
Not your look, your connect.
Okay.
Well, looks don't give you a smile. A smile has to come from within. And what people want are happy people. What people want are people who care for them. What people want is somebody who's empathetic to them, compassionate to them. You can do good politics, believe me. As can a lot of youngsters I come across these days. And I'm finding this increasingly becoming an area of choice for many youngsters. At the same time, continue your profession.
Okay.
Delve in politics, learn the ropes, but continue your professional career so that politics is not the means to an end.
Gotcha.
Politics should be your passion until you have enough for your family and your needs so that you can get full time into politics, which is why I'm able to do politics today, because I spent 30 years in the business world and am today self-sufficient. Same way, I think you don't need any great skill sets. You need to be true to yourself and the skill sets you pick up along the way. Oratory, for example. Usually you associate politics with oratory. I can tell you, I know so many politicians who were absolutely poor orators. Some almost till the end of their political career. But their sincerity pulled them through. Some who picked up oratory along the line. So, your connect with people comes from your heart. Your connect with people comes from your concern for them, your attitude to them, your being approachable to them. And naturally, people get drawn to somebody whom they trust. You have to earn their trust. That's politics.
What can go wrong in this journey? Ego.
Well, ego certainly can make you too big for your boots, and that's something one has to be very, very cautious about. Remaining grounded is very important. Good point you've picked up, my friend. What can also go wrong sometimes is circumstances. It can happen.
Luck.
I don't know so much about luck. Possibly yes. Possibly somewhat destiny. But sometimes circumstances also can go wrong. Can be misunderstood. Something may happen because of which you are even wrongly or falsely in trouble. All of those things can happen.
Yeah.
Those are the risks of every profession. And I think in business also people fail. It's not that they wanted to fail when they got into it. It's not that they cheated or they did wrong, but circumstances sometimes create a problem.
Okay.
So I think it's there's no guarantee of success in anything, but certainly no guarantee that you'll fail also. So give it a shot.
Okay. This is the first time I've ever realistically thought of this, because on the show we've often spoken about how the way content creation is going, we're capturing, I mean, I'm saying this, it is like me blowing my trumpet, but content creators are capturing huge masses of people. So at some point, at least a few of the content creators will want to shift to the world of politics and make a difference to the country in another way.
That'll be wonderful.
It's not a crazy thought, right?
Not at all. In fact, I would encourage you to invite people to come and maybe approach you. There are so many opportunities. In my office, for example, we have a lot of interns. We have a lot of young professionals, some of whom were here before the show started. We have a lot of them who would do very well in the private sector, in their business life and the service, but they want to experience what public life is. They want to experience what working in government is, what public policy is all about,
right?
How laws are framed, how government thinks. And it's a very interesting experience.
I would look at the entire cabinet as a bit of a team, PM Modi being a bit of a captain. How do you describe your own team? And I'd also definitely love to ask you, keeping sports in mind, comparing it to sports has L's as well, losses. So if there's ever anything that goes wrong, what is the process? Like, do you all regroup and like talk about like a mistake? Like, do you all, like, what's the process to become better?
See, very often the important part is the planning aspect. How well you've thought through a thing before you've implemented it. And if you have really looked at a project in full detail, you normally don't go wrong so easily. But yes, there can be mishaps. You can go wrong on some project or the other. And you have to have the big heart or the gumption to accept it and move forward. Very often you have to take a step back also if you've gone wrong. And I don't think that's very unnatural. It's, in fact, if you feel you've never gone wrong, then that's something unnatural.
Does it psychologically bother you guys at all when the internet acts the way it does if something goes wrong? When people are like throwing arrows, etc., etc.
I think initially it does. Over a period of time, you learn to accept some of it as hazards of the job. What pains you only is when it's motivated or based on complete falsehood. It does hurt you a little bit.
Okay.
That, this is not what it is. This is not the truth. This is not what it was ever intended to be. Yes, that's not easy to accept.
Okay.
But otherwise, there are times when we have to take it in the spirit. There are times when you realize that everything hunky-dory and everything good may also not be very exciting for the world of internet and social media. They're like a little spice. So you will have to face flack.
Fear and negativity spreads faster. I have to ask you, are you thinking about the 2030s and 40s? Like, do you visualize that number? Like, I visualize it on a personal level and I think of where social media is going, where the internet is going. I can't imagine how you guys think of those coming decades.
Well, I, for one, am convinced that India is on a roll. What we have in India is unmatched with any other part of the world. We have a democracy, rules-based government, decisive leadership. We are transparent in our operations, which many other countries which have developed in the recent past are not. And the world today is looking up both to India and India's leadership. Look at the kind of accolades Prime Minister Modi is getting wherever he goes. Have you ever heard of an Indian leader being called boss? Or the world's most loved leader by the Italian Prime Minister? Some of the kind of comments the US Commerce Secretary the other day on a public platform was commenting on Prime Minister Modi's deep knowledge of technology.
What's the geopolitical angle here? Why are they doing this?
Well, I think they can see India as a very, very important emerging power in Asia, which is the hotbed of a lot of serious concern. B, for the first time after many years, they are seeing India with an absolute majority government and a strong, decisive leader who's leading 1.4 billion people to becoming aspirational Indians, asking for all the good things of life, which means there's going to be demand in India. There's going to be a big market. So they see a big business opportunity. They see a big investment opportunity. We in India also need that investment to be able to grow. We ourselves are looking to make India a $35, $40 trillion economy. We ourselves want to see that the most basic infrastructure across the country should be available to all. Every young child born in India should have access to clean water, electricity, a good home, family which has healthcare, which has education, all the basic infrastructure of connectivity around them, digital connectivity, physical connectivity, and with skills contributing to a better tomorrow for India.
Okay.
Now, this kind of an India is possible. And with the relentless pace with which India is growing, next 4 or 5 years, 7 years down the road, I see an India which will be like driving the world. We will be in the driver's seat.
Okay. Yeah, I have large hopes from the world of entrepreneurship. Again, I think that people don't know what's coming at them. When you talk to Gen Zs, people born after 1997, 98, it's just very different mindset. Much larger scale thought. So good times are coming. At least that's the optimist in me believing so. And I think you're an optimist.
And I love that optimism. Keep it up. Never let it die.
No, for sure. You're very entrepreneurial. But I've gotten to know that after having this conversation with you. Like, there's actually an entrepreneur in you. And I think that's a part of the reason you've been given these ministries. Because in some ways, they are the ones that fetch a lot of money for people in the country and for the country in general. Do you think that's played a role? Your investment banking
It has
past?
hugely. I mean, right from the first day when I took charge in power or renewable energy and coal, I think both my education, the chartered accountancy and law that I learned as a student, my setting up a factory as an entrepreneur and a small scale unit at that. The project cost of my factory way back in the early 80s was only 19,80,000 rupees. Project cost. And the capital for that came from my father's pension, which he commuted, his superannuation funds, the pension, the provident fund, gratuity, leave encashment that you get after 30 years of service. That became my capital, which he was kind enough to give me, with which I started my small scale industry. All those lessons that I learned in the first 20 years of my life, running an industry, growing it from a small scale to a mid scale, the labor trouble I went through, the banking crisis I went through, all of that helped me learn, all of which is coming in good use today. My investment banking stint of 14, 15 years helped me learn the world of finance, understand business, understand importance of good management practices. And I think collectively, this experience is my biggest asset today.
Okay. You're a lot of fun to talk to as well. Like, I'm able to flow with you. I don't know whether it's a Bombay Connect. I think it's just two Bosco boys like connecting a little bit. So I'm having a lot of fun talking to you. I'm learning from you. There's a basic question I've had that I wanted to ask you from the start of this conversation. Mainly for the 13-year-olds watching this podcast, studying civics. What is a day in the life of a cabinet minister like? Is it a full barrage of like problems and strategy thrown at you? Because there's no way you know how a train exactly works, even though you're a railway minister. So there's got to be experts around you. Wherever there's experts, there's problems. That's what I'm assuming. And there's just a constant stream of tasks.
You have a lot of personal life also. So don't ever imagine that we are just like machines.
Really?
So my morning tea with my wife, with almonds and fruit and the news with 20 different newspapers and the television blaring away is a must do. Can't start the day without that. Fortunately for me, and I think your viewers or listeners will also be commenting on my voice, I've had a throat problem all my life, probably hereditary in some sense. But during COVID, it used to be probably worse. And one day, sitting with the Honorable Prime Minister, he said, "You want to sort out your problem?" I said, "Of course." And he says, "You got to do yoga." And I still remember it was 16th of July, 2020. Going to be 3 years now. He got me hooked onto yoga.
Really?
Pranayam, and it's really been a game changer.
Even as a professional, it's probably benefited you?
Yes, because while you are doing all those asanas and pranayam and all, you don't have any other time to think about anything else. You're just following the instructor's directions. So it gives you a little bit of a peaceful time that kind of meet my time, And post yoga, I'm a little religious, as I told you. I would have ideally liked to say my prayers, but it's always difficult to catch that in the morning. Then you are on the work trail, then you are on a crazy schedule. And that's where I mess up. I mean, my lunch is at 5 o'clock in the evening sometimes. Dinner would be, I just had dinner before the show because I've got to go back home. I'm technically on antibiotics. And if I hadn't had that dinner, I would probably not be going back home tonight. So it's a natural family life like anybody else's. But during the day, it's a lot of work to catch up on, a lot of public engagements, a lot of meeting of people. When Parliament is in session, you're busy with Parliament. You're traveling very extensively throughout other parts of the country, even internationally. All of that is work. But then I don't sleep without saying my prayers. Wherever possible, I'll do my treadmill before I sleep. If it's too late in the night, I'll at least walk for about 45 minutes.
And now you can start listening to podcasts on the treadmill.
I listen